It's time to pick my TBR for another month, and for this Tailspin game I actually have a special guest with me. This month I'm going to be playing a 2-player round with Annie from Alobear. I'm going to link to her channel in the description below and she's going to introduce herself to you in just a minute. Annie and I are going to cut back in and out and we'll let you know that we are picking for each of those roles. So over to Annie.
Hello, I'm Annie and this is my co-host Stanley the Bear, and we like to drink tea and talk about books. So if you come to my channel you will get 4 videos a month, one of which is a TBR selection video, sometimes using the robot TBR prompt jar. You'll also get a monthly wrap-up of all the reading I do across the month. And my favourite series is my unhaul project called Read It or Yeet It, where I use a spinner wheel to pick 3 of my least appealing books on my owned TBR and then give them 50 pages to hook me before I decide whether to read them or yeet them. And if I do yeet them, it's actually Stanley who gets to throw them off camera and sometimes take the tripod out. He's getting a bit out of control with the yeeting of books. And then there's a random video in the month which I decide on month by month. Last month I did one about all of the series I'm in the middle of and whether or not I was going to continue with them. This month it's going to be my Reddit Fantasy Bingo TBR, and next month I'm going to do a weekend of dice determining lots of things to do with my reading and general life activities, which I'm really looking forward to. Much like Louise, I do a lot of reading challenges, so there's a lot of reading challenge content. Hercules, the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, Reddit Fantasy Bingo, Magical Readathon, Aurelium content, so there's always prompts to be fulfilled. I've been following Louise for quite some time. I'm just actually coming up on my first anniversary on Booktube, and Louise is one of the first creators that I discovered and started following, so I've been really enjoying watching her TBR Tailspin videos along the way, and I'm super excited to be involved in TBR Tailspin, so let's get on with the game.
Updrafts will throw you forward. Gliding with another dragon knocks you back. The tailspin in the middle can go forward or backwards, but it always adds a colour cover prompt to the TBR. Blue is a mood read. Green is a prompt from the prompt card stack. Purple is a personal goal. Red is a reading challenge, some kind of readathon that is happening either month-long or year-long. The yellowy orange colour means we have to continue a series, and the black is for a reread. Shall we roll? Highest goes first, and then re-rolls?
Yeah, makes sense. So, oh, that is a 3.
Well, I'm gonna hope then. Oh, I got a 1. So you can go first.
Okay, so here we go. So, 19.
Oh,
Oh,
well
18.
18.
18.
Would you like to be the green or the yellow?
I'll go green.
Green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Was it 18?
Yeah.
Great. So that's a green, which is the prompt card stack. So,
Ooh.
which I think are the most fun, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So the prompt is to read a book with a historical setting.
Okay. Yeah. That should be, well, I don't know. I should be possible.
Fingers crossed.
First of all, I got historical setting, and for that I'm going to use The Murderer's Ape by Jakob Wegelius, which I actually picked up from my local station free book exchange bookcase, which is an excellent place for me to get books. I've got all sorts of random, weird and wonderful books from there. It's middle grade, I believe, and it's from the point of view of a gorilla called Sally, who is the ship's engineer on a ship in a historical setting, I believe, and various things occur which mean that her friend, the chief, is falsely accused of murder and she has to try and figure out how to save him. It's a bit of a chonker, but it is middle grade, so I'm hoping it'll be a fairly quick read. It's also going to fulfill my non-human point of view for Reddit Fantasy Bingo. And for May, the buzzword cover challenge is a book with a border or frame around the cover. So that fits rather nicely. So that's great. 3 prompts in 1 book.
Okay, so that is, I think that's a 9 when it's got the little dot. So
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that for me is a purple, and those are kind of goals. So usually what I do is I always use ARC because I have never got my ARC collection under control. The first book I'm going to put on this TBR is Startup Hell from Caitlyn Rozakis. This is my most anticipated book of the month in May. I have an ARC, so it's definitely going to get read, and I might as well put it on the TBR list nice and early.
Yeah. It's a 5.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a purple as well. So like I said, that was the goal square.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to think about that. I should have gone back through and checked and figured out what I was going to do for the different colours, but yeah, I'll figure something out. That's fine.
It's more fun this way.
Yeah, of course. No, yeah, I'll have to think about that. Next up was my personal goal prompt from TBR Tailspin, and I know that Louise already has continuing a series as one of the colours on the TBR Tailspin board, but I didn't get that one, and my video last month that I did was about series that I'm in the middle of and wanting to continue them, so I'm going to use that as my personal goal for this, and I'm going to pick Search and Recovery by Kristine, Kathryn, Rusch, which is book 11 in the Retrieval Artist series, which is a sci-fi series which usually involves murder mysteries or missing people and lots of interesting alien cultures, and I've really been enjoying it, so I'm glad to have the opportunity to continue with that. It's also going to fulfill my Magical Readathon Patreon Bog Challenge prompt for May, which is space, and these books are set in space. They are sci-fi space operas, so that works out for that. I also rolled on the TBR-athon Lost in the Library game board and picked the new or old square, and this fulfills both because it's my latest book purchase. I only actually bought it this morning as an ebook, and it's also old because it has actually been on my TBR for a while because it's almost a year since I read the last one in the series, so that works out for that. And Reddit Fantasy Bingo, I'm using it for the small press or self-published square because this was published by a small press. So 4 prompts in 1 book for this one. Cool.
That is another 9. So I'm down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm like following you because that's me on the prompt card as well. So, got 2 there. Oh, mine is to read a book from a 4+ book series. So I'll have to think about what I have in progress or start something else terrifyingly long. I do have an idea. Our fantasy bingo, I was going through all of my different options there, so I think I have a few fresh in my mind.
I'm going to be doing my TBR video fairly soon for that.
I had so much fun putting it together at like the night it came out. I was like, oh, it was like Christmas.
Yeah, me too. I've got the spreadsheet all done. I just haven't filmed it.
For a book from a more than 4 book series, I'm going to be reading book 5 in Anne Rice's The Vampire Chronicles. This is a reread of Memnoch the Devil. This one I have been not putting off, but I've not been excited to get to. From what I remember, this one is quite slow and it ends in a way that I personally wasn't a fan of. I am keen to read it though, to continue on with the series onto some of my favourite books.
Okay. So 2, so you must be catching me up.
2. Oh, you get a good one. 1, 2. So in the middle, you automatically add a book with the cover, the color you've just landed on. So that's a green one. And then I'm going
Right.
to put the ball in the little spinner and
Oh,
we
yay.
hope it works because it does sometimes stick. But then wherever you come out is where you'll continue from.
Okay, cool.
Oh, wow, you went right ahead, I think. Yeah, you're up in
Oh,
the
wow. Okay.
yellow square. So it's still a book. You still use the book that you landed on. So it'll be the green cover, but you're going to
Right.
move on
Green.
without having to loop around the board this section.
Okay.
Next up is an audiobook, which is The Matchmaker's Gift by Lynda Cohen Loigman, which is going to fulfill my TBR Tailspin green cover prompt. And this one is about a matchmaker who I believe uses magic to help in her matchmaking. And it's one of those split narrative ones. So there's a historical narrative, and I think her granddaughter in modern day New York finds letters to do with things that went on in the past and discovers things about her family history. So that sounds really good. It's also going to fulfill my buzzword title challenge for May, which is make or maker in the title. So that's self-explanatory. And I'm going to use it for choose a book by its title for Reddit Fantasy Bingo, because I think this one sounds really good. I'm not going to get hard mode, which is to go in completely blind, because I have looked up what it's about. But, you know, still another one with 3 prompts for the book, which is excellent.
Oh, 13, which is good, but unlucky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 is yellow are to continue series. So
Right.
that might actually work quite well with the previous prompt I got. The next prompt was specifically to continue a series, and for this I'm going to put Husband Material by Alexis Hall. This is the second book in his Material Worlds trilogy, and it carries on from Boyfriend Material, which I read last month. The third book in the trilogy, Father Material, is coming out in June, and I've wanted to reread both of these so I can read that when it releases.
Okay, cool. Oh, 19.
Oh. Okay, so here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What was that? Sorry, 19?
19, yeah.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So that is the reds. And those are challenges of any kind of
Yeah.
readathon or reading challenge that you've already
Perfect.
got
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, because I'm doing buzzword. I'm doing, yeah, the R fantasy. That'd be a good one to start. There's the map of Eldia as well.
Yeah,
So
the monthly one, yeah.
yeah.
And last but not least, I got the challenge square for TBR Tailspin, which is fantastic because, as you will have noticed, all of these books are fulfilling prompts on other challenges. So this was an easy one for me to fill. And I'm picking The Bone Maker by Sarah Beth Durst, which is also going to be an audio book for me. It's a fantasy book which is set after a terrible evil has been defeated, and the heroes that helped defeat the bad guy are struggling in various ways in continuing on with their lives. And the protagonist is a bone maker, which is something that's been outlawed in the new regime, but she is wanting to use her bone making magic to resurrect her husband. So I am also going to use it for the Afterlife Square for Reddit Fantasy Bingo, which is to read a book which deals with the realm of the dead. It could also fulfill the buzzword title challenge of make or maker in the title if the Matchmaker's Gift doesn't work out for me. And on the Adventures in Aeldia Magical Readathon map, I didn't get a choice of which way to go on the map this month, and my prompt was a dystopian. And since it seems like the protagonist's magic has been outlawed, and if she uses it, she's going to get burned, I believe, that feels pretty dystopian to me, so I'm going to use it for that. So another triple prompts fulfilled in one book.
Perfect.
13 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, which means go all the way back there.
Oh
And
no,
I
have
get a
you
green
hit
prompt.
the dragon?
So I get to read a
Oh,
book from the library. For my fourth roll, I got a library book, and I do have a couple sitting that I picked up completely at random, just things I saw on the library shelf last time I was in. So the one I'm going to put here is The Moorwitch by Jessica Chowdhury. I don't really know what this one is about. I'm sure I've read a book from this author in the past and enjoyed it. A weaver, skilled in the craft of spinning spells with thread and a needle. She's always chosen magic over love, and it was magic that brought her to Lachlan the Fae, with whom Rose once struck a sinister deal in order to escape her abusive home. I think I might have picked this one up because it has a Scottish inspired setting, and I'm a glutton for punishment when it comes to non-Scottish authors writing Scottish stories. I can't say that I have exactly high hopes, but I am definitely intrigued, and knowing that I've enjoyed a book from the author in the past, hopefully this will work for me. I do love books that have seamstresses or weavers or anyone that takes an interest in thread crafts, so hopefully this is going to be a really good find for me. This might be your last one, maybe.
ooh, exciting.
Not that I'm wishing bad luck for you.
17.
Yep, so there you go. You reach the end. So I'll keep going, and then once I hopefully catch up with you, you get to give me an extra prompt.
Okay, awesome.
So that's my book selection, The Murderer's Ape and the other three that you can see here. So in terms of picking my books based on the TBR Tailspin prompts, I think the game has been pretty nice to me and it's worked out rather well.
16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 16 is a purple. So those are the goal squares again. I can always use a bit of help on clearing some of my NetGalley arcs. The one that I'm going to pick now is the fourth or fifth book in the Grilled Cheese Mystery series by Lynda Reilly, Between a Roquefort and a Hard Place. I love this cozy mystery series. It is one of my favourites. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is another prompt card. And that is to read a book with an elemental title, so something like fire or water.
Yeah, nice.
For the elemental word prompt, I'm going to put down another, this one much more overdue arc. This is Storm and Sea by Tereza Kane. It's kind of got mythical creatures, found family, some queer representation. I think it could be a little bit like Disney's Luca, but more grown up. It is though supposed to be really heart-wrenching, and it's taken me a long time to be in the mood for that. I didn't realise that when I requested it. So hopefully with this kind of push, I'll be able to clear this one off my shelf. Oh, finally 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I made it. So if you want to get your TBR machine and give me something.
So Stanley's got the robot TBR jar ready. I do have to take his head off. There we go. Let's see. How about that one? Cover that most closely matches your outfit.
I'm wearing a pink jumper with a kind of burgundy stripe, and the book that I have picked is going to be a reread. Ordered all 5 paperbacks on eBay. They arrived a few weeks ago, and I've not been sure when I would actually start rereading them, but rather than them just sitting on the kitchen table, this is the push to actually pick the first one up. So I'll be reading Murder Plain and Simple by Isabella Allen. This is a pen name of Amanda Flower, who is one of my favourite cozy mystery authors. This mystery series follows a woman who runs a quilt shop in a largely Amish community. I really enjoy the insight that Flower, or Allen, manages to give us into a community that I really know absolutely nothing about. I don't remember anything about the series or the mysteries, but I do remember really enjoying it. So hopefully this is going to be a really nice, relaxing, cozy read. Thank you for joining me for the game. It's
Oh, no, thank you for inviting me.
fun
I'm looking
to-
forward to it.
Good luck with the book choices and have a really nice evening.
Thank you so much to Louise for letting me play TBR Tailspin. It's been really fantastic fun. And yes, I will look forward to see more TBR Tailspin in the future.
So there you have both Annie and my picks for our prompts this month. I don't know about Annie, but I suspect she's got a second TBR video coming out with everything else she plans to read this month. Now, as far as I currently know, and we know it's prone to change, I don't think I'm doing any major, intensive, competitive team-based readathons or anything like that this month. But I do know that Weird and Wonder is running, as it does every May. I will link to the blog posts for that in the description. But essentially it's a fantasy blog event where you are encouraged to read and watch fantasy books, TV shows based kind of around the year's, based loosely around that year's theme. There's no teams, there's no points, there's no real pressure. You can read as much or as little as you want. And the only prompt this year is to do with the celestial theme. So things with moons or wolves or shifters, that sort of vibe. I don't want to add too many books to my TBR for it, but I will add more if I get through the choices I've already made. So the 3 books that I would like to add are Nemesis Mine by Amy Archer. This has a moon on this absolutely stunning cover. This is a romantasy, enemies to lovers, kind of fake dating for the publicity of it, hero and enemy rival story. I think this looks like it could be one of my favourite books of the year. I have incredibly high hopes for it, so I'm really excited that I'm going to fit it on the TBR here. The next book also, I think, has a moon on the cover. I'm not entirely sure about this one. It looks a little bit like it might be a sun with those wavy lines, but the sky behind them is dark, so I'm thinking it's a moon. You can let me know what you think. But this is Betrothed to the Emperor by Kai Butler. This one came up when I was doing a bit of our fantasy bingo research into the politics and courtly intrigue square. That's the square that I'm the most excited about. It's the type of book that I always really love, so I'm happy that I'm gonna get to try this one. And then the last book is fitting in with that transitional period shifters theme, and it is a book by an author I've loved before but in a very different genre. This is Gail Character's San Andreas Shifters series. The first book is The Summage Solution. I absolutely adore her Parasol Protected It series that starts with Soulless. It's a historical kind of paranormal steampunk series. This looks very different. Being contemporary werewolves looks incredibly different, but I am really interested and excited to see what she does with it. It's been on my Kindle backlog for years at this stage. Thank you so much for watching. Leave us a dice emoji to show you are here, and I hope that I'm going to see you in the next video. Goodbye.